So, Kristen, thank you for joining us. I thought it would be really helpful. Everybody's super excited about the cruise, and I thought it would be really helpful to kind of spend a few minutes talking about how to earn a trip as far as being a coordinator, and then to kind of go into the global way, and then to kind of end with the best strategies on earning the trip. How does that sound?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if I know everybody on this call. I see like a few unfamiliar faces. So maybe like a quick intro, would that work? Just so I know who's on.
That'd be awesome. Oh, and look, we have a Sarah Ferris. I don't know who that is.
Woohoo! What's up, Soldier Ferris?
I don't recognize her
name. I saw the option to edit my name really quick before I dialed in, and I was like, I have to do this.
Yes. All right. Yes. Please feel free to unmute yourself and say hello, so Kristen knows who's on. Do it all at once, too.
Let's make this as awkward as possible. See how many people can.
Well, hi, Kristen. My name is Sarah Ferris. I don't think we've met. You might have known my previous girl named Sarah Bulger, who really misses your face so much, but I'm super excited to be on this trip next spring because I'm going to do it.
Awesome. You look so different. It's like I don't even recognize you. I see Rebecca Kurtz. Hi, Rebecca Kurtz. And I don't know. I think Jessica, I don't think I've met you. I'm just looking. Jessica, Kim, I know Kim. I think, okay. Sandy, I've never met you. So hi.
Hi, I'm Sandy Carter.
And Leah and Miranda. I think everybody else I've met. If not, I'm Kristen. Excited to be here with you guys.
Hi, Kristen.
Hey, Miranda.
Hey. Oh, hey, Miranda. Okay.
Hey
So,
and Sam and Judy, did you see them? And Colette, yeah.
no, I didn't. I didn't go apparently to the next screen over. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hi.
All right. So what we really wanted to focus today is just on how you can earn the trip. First, we're going to talk about just the normal traditional way that you can earn it. And I'll pause if anyone has any questions. We can cover there. Also, I'll tell you, the trip looks a little bit different from everybody depending on where you are in the business. So I'm also more than happy to connect with any of you offline, so you understand specifically as it looks like your business. So we'll kind of go over the generic things and then do some questions, and then we can help you individually if you need that. And then we're also going to talk about the new at conference. For anyone who's at conference, we also have a second way that you can earn the trip. And if you weren't at conference, or you have some team members that weren't at conference, through that incentive, we also have some great ways and a great incentive to really set them on the right path to earning the trip in the future. So super excited about that. Katie, I don't know, what I was thinking is I would just go to the back office and show everybody exactly where they can look at all this. Do you want me to share my screen, or do you want to go to the back office? What's the best way to do that?
If you want to share your screen, that'd be awesome.
Okay, give me just 1 second. And I will do that.
And there's also a website they can go to as well. Is that just the global way though?
Yeah. So what we'll do is I'll go over the first way, and I'll show you where to see that in your back office, and we'll go over the trackers and everything. And then totally separate from how you earn this trip is the tracker for how to earn the trip from the way we announced it global. And it's a completely separate website. So sorry, my computer is taking a little bit longer to load than I wanted it to. Oh, so give me just 1 second. Okay, maybe loading. Okay, so tell me when you can see my screen. You guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So really where I went is, if you just go to and I'm sure you guys all know this, but you want to go to the My Business page, and then in the bottom towards the right, you'll see trackers and incentives. So the first, then we're talking about the Dreams trip specifically. So just click on Dream Trip. You can see your tracker, you can see an overview of what everything looks like, and then you can see the rules. So we'll mainly be in the rules section, and then go ahead and look at your own personal tracker if you're online right now to make sure that you understand it. As you can see, I have not been very productive this year in earning the trip, but yours will be filled out much more thoroughly. But just to start off, the trip goes from, or the qualification period every year goes from January through December. So it's really trying to reward your behaviors for the entire year. The different points that are required, we have 3 separate tiers that you can earn. A 200 point where it's 1 person in 1 cabin, a 300 tier where if you earn 300 points, you can get 2 people in 1 cabin. And then to really double qualify, it's 2 people in 1 cabin plus $1,500 cash with 600 points. So I'm not going to read this like word for word. We'll just go over it. And then if you have any questions, we'll go over it then. But basically, you get rewarded for, like Katie was saying, really doing the right things in the business. So advancing in ranks, sponsoring, and growing your team. So just to start out in the sponsoring category, you earn points based on how you're sponsoring people into your business, all the way from 1 point to 15 points. So a member distributor with 50 points, you're going to get 1. And then as you can see on up those tiers, clear up to a new qualified distributor with the I Want It All Success Pack will earn you 15. So pretty self-explanatory in that section, but I guess I'll pause right there. Anything as it relates to sponsoring that is maybe not clear? Right, I'm super thorough apparently, or you guys are just all really smart. But either way, go back to this and it will show you exactly what you're getting for everybody coming into your business. Again, it's about rewarding the behavior, sponsoring. Okay, so then scrolling down, and this
Kristen,
yeah.
Sorry, just a question. Is it if a current member upgrades to qualified distributor, that counts as a sponsoring, or is it just a new person overall?
It's just a new person overall, I believe. I will double check on that because I'll double check on that, but I believe it's just a new person overall. Maybe it's, if I scroll down, it's right here.
I thought that they changed it, but I could be wrong.
I was gonna say, there was talk of changing it. I'll double check on that nuance. I'll remember, I promise. I'll find out on that.
I'll text you.
Thank you. That would be super helpful. And then the next way after sponsoring that you can earn points is just rank advancement. Basically, every rank you advance, you get the points towards the trip. So in looking at that, here's the rank advancement points. When you hit director, it's 30, senior director 50, coordinator 75, and coordinator is really where you need to be to earn the trip. So 75 points for hitting coordinator, and Katie, I heard Katie mention this at the beginning of the call, but that's really where you need to be to qualify for all travel anyway. So really shooting for that coordinator level is a big deal. Yeah. 75 points for that rank, clear up to 300 points for those of you who hit Presidential Master this year. So this is where a big chunk of your points will come, as you can see. So, as you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, I want to set my team up or my new builders up for success, really focusing on the goal of getting them to coordinator is going to get them on the trip. That's 75 points, plus they're getting trips for sponsoring, which they have to do to hit coordinator. Plus, as we'll see in a minute, they're getting points for growing their team. So pretty self-explanatory as it relates to rank. Any questions there?
I just wanted to say that, coordinator is very realistic and very doable, that it's helping 2 people that reach that director rank. And I think we focus so much on director, and I'd encourage you to really think coordinator and beyond, because it's just teaching 2 people to do what you just did. And that is a very, very doable and realistic thing to do when you have a plan. And we'll talk about that too.
Absolutely. And I have to tell you, Katie is like the perfect example of this. From day one, her first step for people has been get to coordinator. And when you look at the strength of her organization, it's completely evident that that was the focus, and it ends up not only, you know, getting you the points that you need, but it sets your organization up in such a solid way. So absolutely focusing on that first step of coordinator is exactly where you should be. So then moving on, the PGV plus growth category, this is where I find most people have the most questions that they don't really understand it. So first I would just want to take a minute to make sure you know what PGV plus is. Oh, I'm about out of battery. I'm going to go ahead and plug my computer in. So PGV plus is all of your PGV plus the PGV of your first generation directors. So you calculated that by just adding the two together. So taking your personal group volume and then adding it to the personal group volume of any first generation director. Does that clear enough? Does that make sense? Does everyone know? Let me pause right there because this is where I feel like some people get a little tripped up. But does everybody know what a first generation director is, like who you count in that? Yes, no? Okay. Well, I know a lot of people get a little bit confused on this, but what that means is you get to count all of your volume plus the first director underneath you, you get to count all of their personal group volume. So let's say, for example, I come in, I become a director, and then I sponsor Katie, and Katie becomes my director. My PGV plus is my personal group volume plus Katie's personal group volume. One sec, I'm just plugging my laptop in case you're wondering where I magically just disappeared. Hold on, I'll be right back. I don't know why this isn't plugging in.
While we're waiting, if you guys have specific questions when it comes to the trip, please use the chat box so that we can make sure to answer those by the end of the Zoom.
Okay, sorry about that. Apparently I've never plugged a laptop in before. Okay, can you see my screen now? Katie, can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Can you see my screen? Is my screen visible?
No, not as of right now.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Give me 1 second.
I think you just X'd out of it.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on. It just completely froze up. Okay, well, sorry, it's making me re-log in. Back to the PGV plus thing. Basically, every time you get points over your base, you're going to earn points towards the trip as it relates to the PGV plus category. Sorry, Katie.
You're okay.
Any questions up till there, though? Let's just pause for 1 second.
We did have a question. Can you earn the trip if you hit 200 points but aren't a coordinator?
That's a great question. Not through the traditional way of how we qualify. We do have the way that was announced at conference where you can hit it, but not through this traditional way. So good question. Even if you have the points, you do have to be a coordinator to earn the trip. Okay. Any other questions? Sorry, now I'm back in.
I have a quick question.
Yeah,
When you get a rank advancement and it says you have to hold it for 4 months, does that not become official on the on the points until the 15th, kind of like everything else with like when the system updates itself with Shaklee, or?
Great question. Yeah. So how it works at Shaklee is, and this is where we're super different from most other companies. As soon as you hit a rank, we pay you as that rank. But for you to be appointed at the senior levels, you have to hold that rank, and then we update your title, even though we're paying you that way. The trips work the same way. We're going to pay you for hitting that title, but you have to hold it for 4 months before you're going to see those in the back office tracker. So for example, September is always a huge month for people. And the reason is because if you're trying to qualify for the trip, you want to make rank in September so that you can hold it for the next 3 months. 4 months, so you can get those trip points. Great question.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, now can you see my screen? Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You would think I don't spend all day on a Zoom calls. I actually do. I don't know. Apparently it's the first time I've ever been on one. It's what it looks like. Anyway, so that's PGV Plus. Again, I'm going to just go back and show you exactly where you can calculate this. So if you just go to Trackers and Incentives, and then you click on Dream, and then Rules, that will show you exactly the number of points that you're going to get at each level. So PGV Plus down here, when you're 12,000 over your base, you get 25 points. When you hit 24,000 over your base, we're going to get another 50 points, and so on. So these numbers add up. So you can see that it's not an additional 25, it's an additional 50. So if you're over by 36,000, it's an additional 150 points, 48,000, 250. Pretty self-explanatory, but that's where that number is coming from. So then people are always asking, okay, well, what is my base? And this will be all listed on your tracker as well. Your base is the total of your PGV month from January through December of last month, plus the PGV month of any first generation directors that you have. So it gives a pretty self-explanatory example here. But example 1, business leader Alan had 3,000 PGV during the base period without any business leaders. It would just be 3,000 times 12, which would be 36,000. Example 2 is an example that, okay, let's say that I had that business leader. It's just showing that it's their PGV plus their business leader's PGV to give them their base. So then as they're growing throughout the year, every time they're over their base, they get those trip points. Any questions as it relates to PGV plus? Okay. And then the next place where you get points for earning the trip is in the depth development category. And this is really making sure, this is set up to really make sure that you have a balanced organization. What you don't want to have happen is have, you know, a situation where you have leaders, but maybe you only have one. So maybe your organizational volume is 20,000 of it, but 18,000 of it is coming from one person. This QOV category really encourages you to grow a balanced business so that you have several leaders, not just one runaway leg. Depth development, or what we call QOV, qualifying organizational volume, are points that you get every month as you hold the paid as rank of coordinator or above. So basically what happens is they take your largest leg, whoever the most volume is coming from, and they say, okay, what you grow outside of that person will determine how many points that you get. So if you're 2,000 above your base, you get 5 points. If you're 4,000, you get 15 points. If you're 6,000, you get 25 points. The cool thing about this, and I can't stress this enough, and Katie, you talked about it a lot, but these are the things that you're doing to build your business anyway. So as you're doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing, you get rewarded for those behaviors. This is just re-emphasizing that. So if you're not sure what that looks like for you, you can call me, you can call Katie, and we can go over specifically what that looks like as it relates to your account specifically. We also have, like, once in a while, we'll do a miscellaneous point section, typically at the beginning of the year to really get people going, where we'll launch like a brief incentive to have somebody earn points. So that would be the miscellaneous category. And again, I'm not going to go over all of these. You can read them in detail, but the additional requirements, basically it's saying you have to be at least a coordinator to come, and different rules within that. So the last thing that I'll cover, if you're a key coordinator and above, we have another way that you can qualify for the trip. Basically, if you hit those ranks, or if you have enough people on the trip from your team, you can earn the trip as well. So I know I covered that all in pretty fast. What questions, if any, do you have from there? And then we can talk about the new ways at Global that we announced at Global.
Kim asked a good question. So to make the trip the traditional way, we must hold the rank of coordinator this month, September, and hold through January. It's actually, well, we always encourage holding forever, but it's actually 4 months. So it's September, October, November, December. So those 4 months, then you'll receive all of the trip points on January 15th.
Correct. Yeah, good question, Kim. Again, we're still going to pay you as coordinator as soon as you hit it, but to get the points, you have to hold for the month you hit it plus 3 months. So great question. Any other questions? So a couple things that I want to emphasize, and here's where I find that people can get a little tripped up in trip points. Haha, did you hear that? I think sometimes you're like so worried about like adding the numbers. Do I have this? Do I have this? Am I making sure that I'm getting all the right people? Am I, doing all the little details, which is important and you need to know about it. But what I would strongly encourage you to focus on is, as you're going into the trip, focus on getting business partners. If you get business partners, the trip will figure itself out for you. I would say the majority of the leaders that I work with, they understand how the trip works and they know what to do, but they're not like tooth combing the organization every day to make sure that they're, right on track. What they're doing is making sure that they're always finding business partners. If you have business partners, if that's your focus, you're going to be rewarded, because we talked about the ways you earn points, which we're sponsoring. Well, you got to sponsor a business partner to have a business partner. You're going to get points for there. Advancing in rank. You can't advance in rank without helping somebody else advance in rank. So you're going to get points there. PGV plus. As you find more business partners, you're going to increase in PGV plus. QOV. As you find more business partners, you're going to advance there. So if I could pare down the whole program into one simple thing, is always, always, always be looking for business partners. I was talking to a master coordinator yesterday, about this, and how, sometimes you put so much emphasis on the one business partner that you want, and then maybe it doesn't pan out and you're like, oh my gosh, now I have to start all over. Let me just encourage the mindset a little bit differently. You should always be having probably 10 people in the wings of who you want to be your next business partner. It shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I have the superstar Katie Odom that lives across the street from me. I can earn the trip if she joins my business, and be focusing on that one person. You should be focusing on, I would 10 at a time. And that might sound like a crazy number, but the reality is you never know when someone's time frame is to join you. So if you're focusing on several people joining you, it's going to end up that someone's probably going to join you every month. The other thing to remember is, I know people put a lot of emphasis on business partners, and you talk to somebody about the business, and if they don't join you, you're like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with this person? Like, why wouldn't they want to join my team? And you get kind of frustrated that, well, I'm looking for them. I'm talking about the business. They're not joining me. What's going on? Think back to how many times it took you to say yes to Shaklee. And then think back, how many times did it take you to say yes to the business? Chances are it was probably about 10 touches that somebody was talking to you about Shaklee or the products or about the business before you were able to say yes. So when you have your 10 people, your 10 prospects, also keep in mind that it's a consistent flow of information. It's consistent inviting. It's consistent living the lifestyle for them to want to join you. So don't get discouraged if you talk to one person one time and they say no. Like, that happens to everybody. What you need to be focusing on is every day trying to attract more business partners and showing them, more and more the possibilities with Shaklee. So Katie, I know you're super passionate about that. But I don't know if you have anything to add there, but I really think if you focus on that one single thing, the rest of this really kind of plays out for itself. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I think it's not just you finding your own business partners, but it's helping your business partners find their business partners. So I'll give you an example. A couple days after conference, had a new girl join. That new girl joined. A couple days later, I said, who do you have in mind for the business? I have one of my friends. I said, okay, let's do a 3-way call. Did a 3-way call. Her friend joined the business. Now this morning, doing a 3-way call with this now second new builder. Who do you have in mind for the business? Okay, let's talk to this person about, this opportunity. So now it's pretty neat because now it's not just about my new business partner, but it's about all of these new business partners that they have now found. And every single one of you have people that that could use Shaklee as an additional source of income. It just takes getting out of our comfort zone, getting out of the fear, and having that conversation, because then you're developing really strong directors who develop directors. And then all of a sudden, Kim Maple loves when I share this, but all of a sudden you have a 5th level generation, which is Colette. And that's a really powerful story because I'm only, 6 years into the business. And I remember when I was Barb's 6th level, I was like, wow, I'm her 6th level. And now here I am, and I have 5 levels deep, which is really powerful. So it's taking it a little bit further and helping them to figure out who they want to do the business with. And then you're going to get you're going to get more than just 2 first level directors. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. And I think just to echo all of that, as you come in and that's kind of the pace that you set for your team of we always find business partners, what do you think your downline's going to do? Like Katie said, but if you come in and it's like, I never talk about the business and I never look for business partners, and then you're trying to convince someone to join your team to do something you're not, it doesn't work that way. But when you model that behavior, that's what everybody else will do. And that's where the power of duplication and leverage comes in. So totally agree with that. Any other thoughts or questions around just the traditional way to earn the trip? If you haven't done it, go log into your tracker. If you're having, some questions on what the numbers mean, Katie, myself, your upline, whoever that is more than willing to help you make sense out of it. Just don't get too bogged down in the details, not because they're not important, but because you're better off focusing your energy on just doing the right activities. So, that said, if there's no more questions, we will go ahead and talk about the build your team, earn your dream trip. Was everyone on this call at conference?
No, there were a couple that were not. And so, Kristen, one thing I did just very briefly, if we want to talk about, is if there's 4 things to focus on your business on a consistent basis. We talked about the business partners, and then the next piece is always those new customers and maintaining and servicing your customers right now. And so yesterday I did a video on Go Wellness about 4 things to focus on your business, which is acquiring new customers, taking care of your current customers, finding business partners, and then personal development. So all 4 of those things will be exactly what will also earn you a trip, but it'll also be what will help you grow your business, and it will also be what is duplicatable with your team. So I didn't know if you wanted to comment any more with that, but I thought that that would be a really good strategy as you're planning out September. Are these events going to help me find new customers? Are these events going to help me find new business partners? If your answer is yes, then that might be something you need to schedule. If your answer is no, then that might not be the best use of your time. Will listening to this podcast for 30 minutes on social media strategies help me grow my business and be a powerful tool on social media? Then that might be a good use of your time, because I think it just gets really overwhelming for a lot of people and it feels like they don't know what to do. And so I just wanted to mention that briefly. And Kristen, I don't know if but it's also where you get your sponsoring points, and it's also going to be what will help you and help your team to get on the trip as well.
No, I totally agree. And here's kind of how I see that play out a lot. It's when you're new into the business, and let's say you sign up a new customer, you're super excited about that one transaction. You're like, oh my gosh, I did it. Someone is on these shakes now. And you're like super thrilled with what that transaction looks like, that almost you did it and you're done with it, and you move on. A real leader and someone who's like really smart in this business understands that that's just the beginning of the relationship. So it's not just, okay, they bought Vitalizer from me, cross it off the list, I got the PV, I'm that much closer. All those things are true and that's great. But if you're smart, you'll really maximize how you're building those relationships in a way that you are consistently meeting with them and talking to them about the business, or trying to get them to expand into other other product lines, or really trying to connect them to your culture. Maybe the business isn't for them, but maybe they have a friend who it's for. So I think the key is really looking past the one transaction to see, how does this fit in with my business on a bigger scale? That's when everything that Katie said about, following up with current members, trying to sponsor new ones, hosting events, that's when you start to see more growth, when it's not just, okay, I did that, I sold that BB cream and now I'm going to move on. It's, how do I take that one BB cream sale and expand it into something more and connect with that person's social network? So really thinking of it on a bigger scale of, yes, we have to do all these, but understanding why we do them. And it's not just to check the box of, okay, I met my 2,000. Are you doing the right things that are going to build a solid organization? So be thoughtful of what that looks like. There's a lot of really great reports that you can run in your back office to see, who's ordering, who's done what activity in the past few months. That's a great place to start if you just want to, okay, I need to reconnect with the people who have purchased before because maybe you didn't do as good of a job with it as you wanted to. So there's always a place to start. And there's always a bigger picture of everything you're doing. So I totally agree with you, Katie.
Yeah, it's cool that the same things that you're doing for the trip will also help you grow your business. And I think sometimes we're always thinking long-term in our business. And so a trip was something I did want, and I put it on my vision board. But ultimately I was focused on helping other people. And naturally when you're doing that, then everything else falls into place. And so put that trip on your board and believe that it's possible, because I'm telling you, we've been on 9 trips, and the secret sauce has just been consistency and finding those business partners. And every one of you are capable of doing that. Especially when you start now, because even if it's not 2019, you're going to put yourself in the perfect position to earn the 2020 trip. So everything you do now is not in vain, because it'll eventually lead you to that opportunity.
For sure. Any other questions around that, or should we talk about the Grow Your Team, Earn Your Dream incentive?
Yeah, let's talk about the global way. This is like what I think everybody's most, the coordinator way is great too, but I know a lot of people are very excited about this because they feel like it's very attainable.
Yeah. And in the vein of everything you were saying about doing the next right thing and really making sure that you're looking long-term, one of the things that I love about a trip is, number one, they're just super fun and you get to hang out with a lot of really cool people. Number two, connecting with people on that level on a Shaklee trip, you will be shocked at what it does to your business. Not only are you having fun, but it starts to make you think a little bit bigger about what is possible with Shaklee. What I love about this incentive is it is an extremely doable way to plug yourself into the Shaklee culture with all the other leaders who are growing and are in momentum. So it's really a phenomenal opportunity of how, if you're not a coordinator, if you're not, on track to earn through the traditional way, this is another way that you can step in and get on that trip. And I think anyone on this call who's been on a trip, I'm looking at, Lauren and Sarah and Rebecca and Kristen. I mean, all of you, I'm sure, would echo what being on a Shaklee trip really does for your business, aside from it just being really fun. It really helps you commit on a whole new level. So that being said, let's talk about how you can do it. So this was a special incentive that was launched in Vegas for people at Vegas to be on the cruise. The time frame of it is August 1st through December 31st, so for the rest of the year. And the whole idea behind it is really to grow your team through sponsoring members and sponsoring distributors. So how do you do that? So between August 1st and December 31st, you can earn one person on the dream trip. Basically, you have to pay to get yourself to the boat, but once you're there, we have a room for you. So personally sponsor 3 new qualified distributors with purchase. I'm going to go ahead and assume that everybody knows what that means. If it doesn't, if you're not sure, contact your upline. They can explain that process in detail. But essentially, finding new business partners to join you, adding 20 new members, distributors, or qualified distributors to your team, and growing your PGV by 5,000 over your base. So everybody should have been given a base. If you don't know what it is, let me tell you how you can find it. If you go to just the Shaklee homepage and click on the banner, there's like a picture of a cruise ship, grow your team, earn your dream. That'll take you to a landing page for it. And then to the right, there's a tracker button. If you click the tracker button, you will be asked to log in. How you log in is your Shaklee ID. This is really weird, but make sure that your caps are on when you do that. I spent like 20 minutes not realizing that my caps weren't on, and I'm like, there's something wrong with me. How can I not log into this? Make sure your caps are on. So Shaklee ID with the caps on, and then your password is Dream 2018 with a capital D. So if you sign in there, you'll be able to see your base, and you'll be able to see what you need to do at each level, at each month. I'm just going to log into one right now. At each month to keep you on track with that. So while I'm logging in, any questions just on the logistics of it? Again, 3 business partners, qualified distributors, 20 members, and increased by 5,000 PGV over your base. Any questions along that? And that's
wait, Casey, I have a question on that. My PV that like it said that I had for August like doesn't match what my tracker says I have for August. It's like off by like 25.
In a good way or in a bad way?
In a bad way.
Okay, we can take a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, just text me so I don't forget.
Yeah, because I guess I'm confused. Like, I'm actually looking at that tracker right now. So I have my base. I see what I need to earn for the next 5 months. Awesome stretch goal. I'm going to do it. And then it tells you your adjusted monthly PGV goal. So that's the goal that I should be hitting every month in order to earn this trip, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then I don't get, like, so your incentive PGV is what you currently have, right?
Incentive PGV.
Your incentive PGV, that was like my current total?
Yes.
Okay.
That's PGV growth progress to date, where it says your incentive PGV. That's how much you have, and then the goal is right next to it. And then it says your adjusted.
Maybe it's because I'm looking at it on my phone versus a computer right now.
Okay, yeah. And then what it will do is it will have your adjusted monthly PGV for the remaining months. So it basically says, okay, Sarah needs to be at, let's say it's 30,000.
Yep.
And in August, she had 5,000. So that means for September, October, November, December, you need to come up with the remaining 25,000. So it will break it down for you on what you need to do every month to stay on track.
So it'll say like, which would be 5,000 with those numbers. So like if I had 6,000, it would have been like 4,750. Okay.
Kristen, are you sure the password's Dream 2018? Is that right?
Yeah. So make sure that your caps lock is on when you type in your ID number. And then when you type in your password, it's a capital D, REAM 2018.
Is the REAM lowercase?
The D in Dream is uppercase.
Okay, but the rest are lower?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Guys saved mine. Like I learned at Global how to save like your Shaklee Connect, that back office. So like I saved it now as like a drop on my iPhone, and then I never save really passwords, but I save the passwords. It makes it so much easier because now as soon as I open it, it goes straight to the screen. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, so when you log into the tracker on the left, you'll see a button that says home. That's just going to take you, shockingly, to the home page of it. If you click requirements, it will take you to what the PGV requirements are. That's where you'll see my PGV bases. And then you'll see total incremental PGV needed, which is 5,000 for everybody. And then you'll say, it'll see a number in green where it will say total personalized PGV gold needed. That's your base plus 5,000. So if you were at 20,000, it would say my PGV base is 20,000. The incremental PGV needed is 5,000. The total goal is 25,000. So that's all stated right there for you. Then below there, and this is, again, if you're not there now, take time just to see this. It will just make the whole thing make so much more sense. The sponsoring requirements are there. So it'll show you yourself, and then it will say personally sponsor 3 qualified distributors. And then below that, it'll say sponsor 20 in my personal group. And it will help you track as you do that. The information is updated so you can see exactly where you are in not only the volume requirement, but also in the finding business partner requirement and in finding the member requirement. Another plug back to what Katie is always saying, find business partners. As you're looking for business partners, you're going to increase in PGV. They'll either join you as a business partner, or chances are if they say, no, it's not for me, they'll still join you as a member or customer. So again, focusing on that is really going to help you earn this. Yeah, so that's pretty much, I don't know if you guys have all looked at your tracker, but take a minute, look at it. There's a lot of great information.
Yeah, it's nice that it's updated and, you can see how you're tracking along. And I think as you're making your plan for September, October, November, and December, I always put on the top of my plan what my PGV goal is and then what my OV goal is. And so make sure you know what your goal is so that week 1 into September, are you tracking for that? So if your goal this month is easy math, let's say 4,000, then on September 7th, if you're at 1,000, you're tracking to reach your goal. And I think that mentality is really important because so often we get to the end of the month, and then if we're not near our goal, we give up. And instead, if we're consistent throughout the whole month, and if we break down our goal week by week by week, it doesn't feel so overwhelming and it feels more doable. 1,000 PV in 1 week, okay, that's doable. I can totally do that. 2,000 by the middle of the month, I'm going to reach that. And I think that helps too, is that you're having your goal shouldn't just be coordinator, it should be, practically speaking, where do you want to be week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4 in the business? And obviously that's going to change all the time, but yeah.
We also have, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you go into your tracker, on the left-hand side at the very bottom, there's a place that it says worksheet. So this is something that you can print out and fill out, kind of like Katie was saying, as you plan your month, where it's got all the requirements on the worksheet, but it also gives you an opportunity to start writing your goals down as you're tracking it. So getting names for people who you want to be your qualified distributor or your members.
Yeah, this is what it looks like. That's so great.
Oh yeah, there it is.
And so you're really just mapping out, it's so cool. Like when Kim did her little business spiel a while ago, she had her dream team list. And then I think almost every single one had ended up joining the business because remember, these sometimes take time. And she made her list and then she started inviting and in that process. And I think that that's so important to dream big and to not be afraid to put certain people on your list that are hard to talk to because those are exactly the people that you should be having the conversations with.
Oh, for sure. And I always think we're so scared to talk to people, but like, what's the worst that could happen? They tell you no. Like, I get told no by a 4 and a 5-year-old about 1,000 times a day. Like, I'm pretty used to it. So best case scenario, they join your team. Worst case scenario, like, we're all going to survive if someone tells us no.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I know I've said this about a million times, but I just realize how possible this is for you. I don't care like where you are starting out in your business. This is an incentive that will stretch you, but in a really good way. And it's so attainable. And what you can earn from achieving it is phenomenal, not just because it's a fun cruise. I mean, obviously you'll get to hang out with all the cool people that are on this call, but you'll be shocked at what that does to your business of just spending time with other Shaklee people. In fact, I'm going to like put a couple people on the spot just to reemphasize this point of what being on a trip does. So Kurtz, I don't know if you can unmute or if you're working or not, but like, what did being on a Shaklee trip do for you?
Did you say Kirk?
I sure did.
Which one, sister? It just did such, all of them have been so amazing, not just for like the two that Michael and I have gone on together to connect and really grow together and envision what this business can really provide for our family and for our future really. But even chairmen, I mean, I got the opportunity to learn and speak up front and close to, Heather and Roger and everyone else that was there. I mean, I really couldn't even, as far as the business is concerned, it gives you such great confidence and poise and purpose when you're speaking about it, because you see exactly what this opportunity is doing for you and for so many other people.
And Rebecca, what do you feel like was, as you were working towards the trip, what were the things that you were really focused in on that allowed you the opportunity to earn the trip?
It may sound like a broken record, but I think adding builders and developing builders and leaders was pivotal. And I just listened to what Roger, I think it was Roger maybe, no, it was Kevin Crandall that said, don't focus so much on the numbers, instead focus on your business and the numbers will happen. And I know that this is a really detailed call on how to hit your numbers, but truly if you're working your business and you're focusing on growing your business, the numbers will happen. So I think that was a good question. That's what we focused on.
Love it. Yeah, for sure.
Kristen, is there a possibility, perhaps, if there was room, perhaps, on the ship, that if people qualified this way, that maybe they would be able to buy their spouse in? Is that at all a possibility?
Someone else asked me that earlier. I would say probably not at this point. And never say never, but don't bank on that. If you want to bring your spouse, really focus on how to qualify through the traditional methods of hitting coordinator and beyond. So this is just an added incentive to try to get somebody to recognize and to feel what a trip, all those things Rebecca was just talking about. This is an additional way, not the traditional way. So at this point, I wouldn't hold my breath on it. But I was also thinking, I know for some people it's like, oh, well, if I can't bring my spouse, I don't want to go type thing. And I understand that and I can respect that. But also think of how cool it could be to for a girls trip. I know a lot of people who take girls weekends. This would be a great way for people in your organization to have a fun girls weekend, so look for different ways to spin it based on what is offered rather than well, my husband's not coming, so I'm out. Don't get too caught up in that, because you could still bring your husband. It's just qualify the other way. This is in addition to, so.
Katie, I think going back to that, I think if I remember correctly, when I was at Global, they were really talking about getting a buddy to kind of help keep you accountable. And because I think anyone who earns the trip the non-traditional way, they were going to buddy you up in a room.
Yeah. Yep. You will be with somebody else, and we're honoring all room requests. So let's say that I really want to be buddies with Sarah Bolger. Oh my gosh, Sarah Bolger Ferris. The company will honor that. So
I'll always be Bolger. You can always say that.
It's going to take me a while.
You can still call me Bolger. I'll appreciate it.
You know, it's funny. After I got married, I had no problem switching over to like my new last name. But then about 2 years into it, like mentally, I started telling people my maiden name again. I don't know why, because like I was happy, but like the initial like switch wasn't hard. And then all of a sudden I reverted back. Anyway, not sure why I told you that. But the point is anyone that you want to go with, do find a buddy, find an accountability partner. We'll honor all roommate requests. So again.
Hey, Kristen, is it possible to earn both ways?
No, what would happen is if you earned it, you would get the luggage. So that's the other thing that we didn't touch on. And thanks for asking that, Rebecca. If you have somebody on your team who wasn't at conference, but you want them to participate in this, we still are offering that awesome Shaklee luggage that they can get. And the cool way to set that up is, you know, you're not on the trip this year, but you are set to go on the trip next year in 2 ways, literally, because we're giving you a suitcase to pack all your stuff in. And you're starting to build your team to get to coordinator to come on the next one through finding business partners. Again, I'm just going to see how many times I can say that on this call. Any other questions?
Well, I am thankful that Shaklee opened up this opportunity for people director and above, because I think big things happen when you can go on a trip. Even just prospects who watch you and see that you're earning a trip are now going to be more interested in the business. And I don't know many companies that allow you to travel like this. So I'm very thankful that they opened up this opportunity. And I would love, I know not everybody's on my team. Some of you are on Harper's and Rebecca and Kristen, but I would love to know who is actively working for the trip so that we can best support you and make sure you have a very solid plan. And so please feel free to reach out to me or your upline so that we know and we can support you, because it's really a matter of what you do today so that come December, you're in the best spot. And so I just encourage you to let your upline know that it's something that you would like to get on. So, and thank you, Kristen. Is there any other, and yeah, maybe we can create a good support group for everybody, Rebecca. Is there anybody else, does anybody else have any questions for Kristen now that you're on? I know Colette asked, when does the tracker get updated? Because hers is showing it's not live. Do you happen to know, Kristen?
I think it's every day, but who was that? Was it Colette?
Yes.
Give me a text and I could look into yours specifically, or email.
Colette probably just has so much growth that it's not maintaining the growth that she's having.
After like has smoke coming out of it. It's like, stop adding so many points.
Katie, can I ask a non-trip question, but still a Shaklee question?
Yeah.
So the health print promo, that's back live, right? So even if people are not back live, it never ended, but if people already took advantage of it once, they can do it again, right?
Yes, and actually that's a great thing that I want to talk about really quick is that many people are taking advantage of this, and it's a great reason to reach out to people with the new products and to let them know that when they take this health assessment, it opens up the opportunity for them to be able to receive a free gift. And so I know somebody on my team, she had somebody buy like 19 bottles of vitamin D because she loves her vitamin D. But because she knew that was going to help her to get that free gift, she took advantage of that. And so it's a great reason to reach out to people, your current customers, and even people who aren't current customers. It's a great tool to send to people.
Is there an expiration date on that deal? Like, is it ending? Like, do they say like, no?
I don't
sometimes
think so, but I can check.
I mean, it's been going on for a while. It's been really, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's the best thing to get people, like, especially like new customers. I think it's great to have that opportunity for them.
I think December 31st is the expiration on that.
So there is one listed right now, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And as far as Colette, like sometimes the tracker is not going to update until the 15th of the next month because your PGV, that portion doesn't update until the following month after the 15th.
Oh yeah, right, correct. But I thought you were talking about the Earn Your Dream tracker. Are you talking about the global tracker or the normal tracker?
Well, that's a good question. She just said tracker, and I think she might actually be off the call now.
Well, Rebecca's right for the normal one, but the Earn Your Team Dream, Grow Your Team, I had the hardest time. Like, I literally have to read that every time I say it because I always say it backwards. That one updates, I believe, every day.